Episode 91 is here. Welcome to the TFW podcast. That's freaking wrestling. The best kept secret in wrestling podcast. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a family member. We are here. We are rocking and rolling. I am Matt, your host, joined by the co-host with the most, what they say, like the mostest with the hostess. What's like the old school, like 90s
like that
type things. Rhodes up in here.
I'm feeling good today.
Shine is up in here. Shout out, of course, to all of you. As always, y'all know I love shouting you guys out. It's not a script. We appreciate everything that you guys have brought in terms of us, any questions or comments, just watching the vids, listening to the audio. Shout out to you guys. If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be doing it. And we are 91 of these things in. We got 100 coming up soon. We actually talked about that maybe a few days ago. So we got to do something special with episode 100. It ain't many new podcasts that make it that far. So I'm going to give ourselves a round of applause and give you guys a round of applause for rocking and rolling with us for over a year plus. Where y'all want to start? We got Raw to talk about. We made a mistake and ran out of time to talk AEW on Sunday's pod. So we're going to talk AEW. We got a couple of listener questions. One I missed. My bad, Wole. You sent that. I was like, we got you. And then we missed it. So we got you on this one. We're going to take care of everything we may have missed on Sunday after I spent 50 minutes deep diving that Punk promo for SmackDown. But we got some good feedback from that show, so we appreciate it. Where y'all want to start today?
Speaking of promos, we might as well, right? Might as well talk about Raw. Might as well talk about my favorite wrestlers. One being CM Punk. The other one being Seth Rollins.
She's still going with it. I like it. All right.
But before we get there, we gotta acknowledge that Seth Rollins looked like $1 million. He is the absolute man. And I know we say that all the time. But seeing him in the ring side by side to Punk, he's bigger, taller, and he just looks like more of a star. And I know that was kind of the point of it. Punk is just a casual kind of down-to-earth guy. But man, did I see a huge discrepancy visually. And when we talk about on the mic, should I just deep dive and go on it, or do y'all want to go?
You are leading this thing. You said these are both your favorite wrestlers. So I'm just proud of you that you remember this stick, that CM Punk is your favorite wrestler. So I'm laying out. It is your time. It is your show.
First off, Seth comes out looking like Barney 2.0, looking good, as Booker T would say. And he just gave it to him. He made it perfectly clear. He made it more perfectly clear than publicly clear than I could have ever done back in the day. But I turned over a new leaf. He said, "I hate you."
He did.
Let's not get it tangled and twisted. We talking about old school phrases, right? Not tangling and twisting it. I hate you. But we can get to this money. I had just one complaint about the whole promo. And I know, Matt, you mentioned it too when you and I were talking, was I didn't really want Punk talking after that. Seth had such an awesome promo. And I didn't think it was needed for Punk to even say anything afterwards. But I guess we got he's entering the Royal Rumble to win it, I guess. But that would be my only thing that I knock for. But overall, as far as I know, last week we were talking about how Punk's promo on SmackDown probably was the promo of the year or a contender. I think this is probably the contender for going back and forth in the ring, promo-wise, on the mic.
I've seen that a lot on social media.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
You know, I appreciate Rhodes' energy tonight.
I'm feeling good today.
Yeah, I love that. I love seeing my sisters happy about some wrestling. I love that. Okay, it was
Punk's
a great.
on top.
Oh yeah, on top.
Never Ashley acts like she's about to throw up.
Yeah. We had an interesting conversation before we started the podcast. But yeah, it was a great promo, great moment. And I think that Seth really rose to the occasion. I don't know about it, man. Look, I think that outfit he had on, I think that was the less like, man. Like that, his outfits are something, right? That sequence outfit, that wasn't that bad. He looked like one of the Temptations.
He was getting to work. He got like one business here. Yeah, he didn't need any ruffled shoulder pads getting in the way in case Punk tried to hit him. So he just had to come out there looking dapper in his Barney suit.
Yeah, I want to come out there and do like a little spin move with him a little bit, a little shuffle side to side. Yeah, he did all right. But really great stuff from him. And we talked about some of his verbiage, right? We knew a lot of those shots and some of the things he said was going to come out there, right? But it was important for him to deliver his message a certain type of way that he didn't sound like a little B, like, right? Because, it's funny when CM Punk mentioned like his voice, like a little whiny voice. He does kind of have like a whine to it. He has a weird voice, right? So it'll be easy for him to kind of come off like he's complaining. But I think he came off really well, really passionate. His eyes told a story that looked like, bro, I want to kill you. Yep. Like, and when I see you in the right form, it's going to be on. So kudos to those guys. Another great story. I was concerned if Seth was going to be a step up to CM Punk on the mic, and he did a good job. What do you think, Matt?
So a few things. One, shout out to you, E. We just talked on Sunday's pod that, hey, when Seth comes out, he going to have to get rid of that Joker laugh. Like, it's got to be serious, real business. That was the Seth Rollins we got. I think there's a positive and a negative to that. We can get to that if you guys want to. Thought it was fantastic. Big business. When they stood there and they were face to face and they let that crowd go. And Rhodes said she thought the crowd was good. I saw a lot of people online thought they were good. They weren't the best. And typically Cleveland's not the best. They'll show up, like there'll be butts and seats. But in terms of that raucous crowd, if they were in front of a hardcore fan base crowd, they would have to stand there another 30, 45 seconds of the dueling chants, the singing and CM Punk. But they were, for sure, it did its purpose. It did enough. I think that, let me just kind of, Seth was talking that shit. He was talking that talk.
I
right?
hate you. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we also talked on Sunday. I told you guys that Punk has not been produced since he's been back to WWE. His promo on Monday didn't have a producer next to it. His promo on SmackDown didn't have a producer next to it. Promo last night did not have a producer next to it. So everything that you're seeing and hearing is from the horse's mouth. So Seth saying, "Hey, dude, I hate you." That was real. He was shooting. So now, because we don't need to deep dive this promo. Everything they said was right there, right in front of our faces to hear. But I do want to say, Punk comes out, or Seth comes out and says, well, first to start with Punk apologized.
You did.
To the fan base, which he didn't apologize his first promo back. He gave the reason why, and he just said, "I love you, I'm happy to be back," but he didn't apologize. I thought that was cool. Once again, he's talking to the fan base that does not follow him and did not follow him in AEW, right? So cool. I think that also put himself in an even bigger face role before that, or after that, I should say. So Seth comes out, right? Seth says, "This is my home, not yours." Cool. Seth says, 10 years you have been trying to destroy me and destroy this place, and now you coming back like everything is all sweet. It ain't sweet. Cool. Seth hit him with the line, "I hate you." I can't remember the last time I've heard a baby face say, "I hate you" in a wrestling promo. Outside of maybe Eddie Kingston in AEW, I don't think I've heard that. Hit him with the, "I hate you." Then he cuts deep. Then he goes, two things are going to happen. Either you're going to quit, and I'm going to be right. I'm going to be right there to throw that door around that ass. Or I'm going to get in the ring with you, and I'm going to expose you for not being a great wrestler and showing you that I'm the best in the world.
Let's go. Gunshot.
Seth did all that talking. All that yapping. Can anybody tell me how the crowd reacted after he said all that?
They were pretty much indifferent. They didn't boo him.
Nope, they didn't boo him. But what did we get from that crowd?
I got a little bit of a oh. There was a little bit there.
Okay.
And then there was a CM Punk chant. But
there it is.
But that was already kind of after
There
the
it
fact.
is. He said all that. He said all that. He said exactly what he thought about that man. He said where that man has been trying to destroy this place for 10 years. That crowd was like, yeah, that's all great, but CM Punk. At that point, I was like, uh-oh. Seth's got some, he got an uphill battle here. He got an uphill battle. To your point, Rhodes, yes, I would have loved for that promo to end on the Best in the World line and then, hey, hit Seth's music. I get we had to get to the Rumble.
Yeah.
I also know that, okay, that gave Punk the opportunity to say, all right, this is your one-off. I'm not taking this type of disrespect again, but I'll give you one. I get that, but I would have loved for Adam Pearce to go to the back. As soon as he signed, he stayed out there. I would have loved for that Best in the World line to hit. I would have loved for Punk maybe to have kind of like a I'm thinking look on his face. He leaves right out the ring. Seth's still standing there. We come back from commercial, and Punk is in Adam Pearce's locker room or his office and says, hey, seeing we're making things official, put me in the Royal Rumble this year, and just walk out. That's what I would have preferred because I wanted Seth to have the final say. Like, this promo was strictly set up for Seth to look like $1 million. I didn't need and didn't want Punk to have a retort at all on that. And his retort wasn't really about anything that Seth said. That's coming after this week.
Mm-hmm.
It may even come after the Rumble, but that's coming where he actually gives a retort to those things. But that's the only nitpick I would have had was I would have loved for it just to stop right there.
Allow me to retort though, because if I'm CM Punk, I got something to say too. You ain't gonna have the last word for me, fam. Like I'm gonna try to upstage you too. I'm gonna try to take a little bit of that shine back. That's only natural. Now in the wrestling world, okay, we want to maybe have Seth shine, but you think about this is supposed to be a personal feud between them as kind of, toting the line of realism. Like, why would CM Punk allow him to have the last word? Like, it only kind of makes sense. And as I told you guys with Seth, man, yeah, we knew he's gonna have up. Like, look, CM Punk has been gone for 25 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The crowd misses him. They want to see him. They remember all the good times. They don't know about any of the AEW stuff. Maybe vague. They might have an idea, possibly. Like, right? But they want to cheer this man. They want to welcome this man back with open arms. And they don't know or care about all the drama. They don't care about none of the backstory. We talked about Seth. Every opponent he's had, from Nakamura on, they've chanted that guy or cheered that person. And we said countless times that, his theme song is more over than his, which I think is okay because I feel like the crowd still likes Seth. I'm okay with
they
theme
absolutely
song
do
being a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to take much for that crowd to potentially turn on Seth if this doesn't go the correct way with all the momentum and the fanfare that CM Punk has on his return. It's kind of the same reason why I didn't necessarily want a Randy Orton heel turn on Cody Rhodes when he first returned. I was like, man, people love this guy. They want to see him back. So it's going to be kind of hard to not want to cheer this person. And naturally, what you want them to feel a certain type of way. You want them to want to see someone get the upper hand. You don't want them to kind of feel indifferent about either guy or the feud itself. So naturally, someone's going to pick a side at some point. If you care, and I think they're going to care, they're going to pick a side at some point.
Absolutely. But after last night's promo, I have no doubt that Seth is going to be just as big a star as he is now, if not greater, in this feud with Punk. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried, concerned that maybe he was not going to step up to the plate. But after last night's performance, all doubts have gone away. I do want to mention one thing about my favorite wrestler and how he retorted. If that was not like just such an old school, like today, I think the vibe today is just like old school. Like it was such an old school, like, hey, I'm gonna let you get yours. I get that one off. Mm-hmm. But that is the last time you ever talk to me with any tone like that before I knock you out. Like to me, I was like, that felt just as passionate. That like put everything that Seth said wrapped up in one line. Like, listen, okay, got you. Like it's almost like I got that. That one's on me. But you ain't gonna do that again. And I felt that just as equally as I felt the I hate you line. Both knocked it out of the park for me. Again, I just wish that Pink didn't talk after Seth. They could have did something different. But whatever.
But
here we are.
But if he didn't, you wouldn't have got that line of him. All right, you got that one, but that's enough.
Hey, but then real quick though, you were right about. I didn't know Seth was that big of a dude because CM Punk ain't a small guy.
Mhm.
Like
Well-
right, like Seth he's a tall guy. What is he like 6? Is he 6'2" or something like that?
I would say about 6'2". I just remember when they first started the Shield, he had always been the small guy, but then it was like
seem
when
like
he
it.
would battle against Roman, and every time he battled against somebody, Seth is actually pretty darn tall.
Yeah.
But but again, that just shows you that he wrestles like a little guy, and not little in a derogatory way, just that he's agile and he can move like a little guy. And I'm telling you, if both of them can give it their all, I do believe in Seth, and I do think Seth will run circles around CM Punk in the ring. That's just me talking.
And that was a shoot line.
It had to be.
He is going to push him, and they're going to push each other. But that is what, when you can get two professionals, and I use that word professional, right? We know Seth feels a certain type of way about Punk, but we're going to go in here. We're going to use that.
They make a lot of
money. And after one promo, I think everybody feels like if WrestleMania was Sunday, that main event. That may have to go night 2. No, seriously though. Yeah. And we've talked about embarrassment or riches with where they are with talent. Think about this. We got a WrestleMania go home show level promo in December.
Woo.
Crazy talk. So we have the two odds-on favorites to win the Rumble. I'm going to say officially in the Rumble, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. Who y'all got winning between them two, and why?
Since I'm not that great of a booker, I'm going to just say what everybody else is saying. So we'll put, oh, no, you got a point. Because how are we going to build to Roman? How are we going to build to Seth? That's a very, very good question. Let's go with, I don't think Punk is going to lose to Seth. So if they both are in the Rumble, I'm going to say Punk is going to win the Rumble. And then Seth is going to get in the Elimination Chamber or a No Way Out, which I call
Seth
no
or
way
Cody?
out.
You mean Cody?
Cody. I'm so sorry. Cody.
Okay.
Cody's going to get in the Elimination Chamber at what I call No Way Out.
So we just going to stick to this. This is the old school show then.
Just go stick to that.
Like, maybe I should even title it that, because you went No Way Out. If you guys were not watching
old school show
WWE years and years ago, he knows all about No Way Out. That was the February pay-per-view. And No Way Out almost every year was so bad.
It got nicknamed
No Way Out of this pay-per-view, because you went from the Rumble, we got to do a show in February just to get to Mania, which used to be in March. Now it's in April, of course, every year. So that was like February was No Way Out. It was just like, man, and typically not much happened.
Nothing
on those shows.
Just some good matches.
That's funny. Okay, so you got Punk winning the Rumble, and then Cody figuring out a story to get to Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, E, what you got?
So, question about the elimination match, because I forget all these rules. I'm getting old. Doesn't that match typically, the winner of those matches typically have a shot at that brand's champion? It doesn't allow them to switch brands, right? It's that brand's champion, right?
So typically, and maybe I'm wrong in this, that's typically a title match.
It is usually a title match. Yep. In the past, it's usually a title match.
So I'm going to assume this year it's going to be a number one contenders match. But then, E, to your point, how do you get Cody and
Roman together? Because the reason why I ask it, I believe that because Roman wasn't in the last one. He didn't finish in championship in the last one. I think.
Which one? The Elimination Chamber, you mean?
Yeah, wasn't last year? He wasn't in the Elimination Chamber match, right?
Didn't he have a match against KO?
That was the Rumble. He had a match with Sammy.
Sammy. So it was Sammy's match. Okay.
That was a Canada match.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the Elimination Chamber was only females last year, right?
Maybe.
No, there was a man's match. There was a male match.
And who won it? Because
I don't remember.
Remember, it wouldn't have been a point unless it was a tag match, because it was only one champ at the time, and that was Roman.
Yeah, we only had one champion. So yeah.
Good point.
Because
I'll pull it up right now.
Because I'm thinking, okay. Because I'm thinking, all right. Because I'm and my memory is probably incorrect though. But I'm thinking if it's going to be I'm thinking I'm going to go with Cody winning the Rumble.
Okay,
him winning the Rumble, And if I'm booking it, I may even book Cody to go like number 1 or number 2
Mm-hmm.
and last to the end this time, right? Because like,
He has to.
before you guys were, on the Cody bandwagon, one of the things, he came in at 30 or whatever and he won, right? Anybody can do that. But no one has actually. That's one of the few people who would actually win at 30. But I can see him maybe being a workhorse, number 1, number 2, winning it, so you can see that hard work ethic, and then maybe Punk getting his bye at the Elimination Chamber. What'd you guys come up with?
It was actually Austin Theory winning the Elimination Chamber for the U.S. Championship.
U.S. title.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, got it. That's a great point, E. I didn't think about the whole if Cody wins that number 1 contenders match in the Chamber, how does he get to SmackDown? I would still have Punk winning the Rumble, and then Cody just needing just that one more obstacle, that last obstacle to get there. And he can just build that up. A beast got thrown to me, right? Like, just in all of it. Hey, I was going to win the Rumble, and then this guy who wasn't even with the company 5 months ago wins the Rumble. And now I'm going through hell through the Elimination Chamber to finish my story. I think there's a really, really good story. I see a lot of people online just like, man, Punk better not win the Rumble. Newsflash, and we'll see how this works out.
Where they been at? That sounds like a Punk hater to me.
I think it's like a 96% chance Punk loses to Seth at Mania. So it don't matter if he wins the Rumble.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you guys, so we think about that. If Punk wins the Rumble, as we said, because I'm all about, working smarter, not harder, right? Like, it'll be like Seth and Punk are on the same brand. It'll be much easier to get those guys together for a match at Mania than it would be for Cody to figure out a way to get to SmackDown to get his shot at Roman's title without a Rumble win, right? So now we got to come up with a convoluted and hopefully creative solution to that problem. They were to have it, which is to be easier, just let them win, like, right? And then you can easily at that point now, Seth needs a opponent, and so they can have some kind of number 1 contenders match, some kind of tournament, or whatever it is to get a match, or the chamber match, right?
The chamber match
to get that match. So it's an easier solution.
My vote is still for Punk winning the Rumble just for the TV after the Rumble. Like, Punk wins the Rumble, Punk's coming out Monday and saying Seth is me and you, and like, you're good. If Cody was to win the Rumble, we know Cody is going after Roman, right? So then that Friday on SmackDown, does he come out and say, Roman, it's me and you, and now like he's floating in kind of like nowhere land for 8 weeks on SmackDown? Like, that's why I said give him that one last obstacle where we can get those impassioned Cody promos talking about the chamber. Well, you really don't need that with Punk. The Punk is going to be, yep, I know that it's me and Seth, and we can still, of course, wrestle and all that kind of good stuff in between that point. But that's why I would go Punk, just because from a storytelling perspective.
I got something else for you. It'd be interesting. Like I said, I think it'd be easier maybe if they return one of them. And what if like Seth, cost Punk somehow his spot in the, like, let's say Punk is in the match at the Rumble, and Seth comes out and distracts him and does something and causes him to get eliminated, right? Now that furthers their beef.
Eternal sent me something on X. Follow us on X if you haven't. I'm going to read it to you guys because it's something similar to that. And I was like, man, you really don't want Punk winning the Rumble, do you?
Oh, so me and him could be BFFs. Oh, sorry, I said out loud.
You got to stick to your gimmick.
Yeah, why are you pulling that up?
Eternal said, so they announced Seth and Drew at the first Raw of the year in January. And Eternal said, I would actually have Drew cheat to win against Seth. Seth gets a rematch at the Rumble, loses that. Enters the Royal Rumble, CM Punk eliminates Seth. Seth gets back in the ring with anger and eliminates Punk as well. Eternal's just trying to get to where it's not for the title. And I say you really don't want that match for the title, hun. He says, not that. It's not that. I just don't think they need it. And then he said, I'm just confused why they are doing all this with Drew just to lose to Seth again. I think that's a big point for another day.
Yeah, no, that's really good because the Seth, we always talk about like the Roman and Cody, it shouldn't have to be for the title, but whatever. I feel the same way with Seth and Punk. I think they don't necessarily need a title to go against each other. But for me, for Punk to get a main event
And there
WrestleMania,
you go.
he
And for
gotta
Seth to
be
get a main
going.
event
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
you gotta be able to
Both.
have a title. So
Because you can't really give a great excuse. And yeah, we can say
mm-mm,
what sold night one, but
mm,
you can't.
yeah,
There's no good excuse to put the
nope,
women's title match on top and then have them work, second to last match.
yeah,
Like that match has to go on last,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
perfect storm for it to happen.
because you think about Mania, if you got night 2, Roman versus Cody 2, right? Night 1 is Seth versus CM Punk. Like, I get that we're all super duper fans, but you think about the non-hardcore super duper fan who doesn't know about the AEW drama, who doesn't care about the AEW drama, they don't know what happened and why he left. Like
Right.
those people, just imagine them looking at a poster and seeing those two matchups. That's huge.
Man,
Like, right? That's
massive.
huge. And that's what you got to think about because, yeah, we got a new regime. Triple H is very in tune with every aspect of the WWE audience, not just the hardcore or the casuals like Vince was trying to be. He also understands the bigger picture, that he has to create the biggest card possible for Mania. Now, this was No Way Out. Boom. That's great. But we're talking about WrestleMania. This is the biggest show in all of wrestling, right? And what bigger way to have those 4 guys on the marquee? Now, either way, let's just say we take the belt off of Seth and we have a straight up match with Punk and Seth as a grudge match, whatever the case may be. What are we doing with Drew? Okay, he's the champion, like, right? Who's his opponent, right? Now, if Drew is the champion, he's going to be at best at this point the 4th, maybe 5th match on the card because we got Roman Cody 2 is number 1. CM Punk and Seth, like it or not, is still going to be your number 2 match, right? There's possibility they might, whatever they have in store for the women, might be the next match they want to put up on the card, right? So that's just making Drew as a champion, not be on the level that he needs to be, I would think, at that point. So it's just like, it's best to, continue this slow story that they're turning with Drew and get him to where he needs to be, possibly after Mania.
And you think about, it's been a lot, it was, they are doing some great stuff, WWE. Like, think about a few months ago, we were saying night 1 main event could be Jimmy versus Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Punk is a
We're not there
massive
yet,
name.
but yeah.
Punk is a massive name that you just brought in. But it hasn't been too many times in the past where you switch in our minds as fans. We switch what should be a main event in WrestleMania unless somebody got hurt. That just shows how many people they have that's over. I'm sure there is somebody here that thinks that like LA Knight could be in the main event of one of the nights at WrestleMania. I'm sure there's people who feel like Gunther could be in one of the main events. You know what I'm saying? Like they are doing it right, and it's because this 50-50 booking ain't a thing. I kind of do wish maybe 50-50 booking was a thing for Jey Uso. We brought up Drew. I don't think Jay's won a singles match since he went to Raw. And he's still over, and he's extremely likable and all that kind of stuff, but
wow.
I just hope that they continue with him being a main event caliber presentation after Mania with him and Jimmy, because I could see this being just kind of like a holding pattern until that point, and then him and Jimmy get together, wrestle, and I don't know, maybe they hug and they get, whatever that looks like. I just want him still being a main eventer until something he did. You know what I'm saying? Like if he just dropped organically down a couple pegs, cool. If all the stories have just been told for him at that level, and there's other people that now he needs to work that's like mid card, upper mid card, cool. I just don't want to see him just drop because, all right, we don't need him in the spot anymore. Let's tell the story with Jimmy and Solo and put him back to where he was a year ago, 2 years ago.
Spoiler alert. I see how this is all going to go. I just had an epiphany. I said I wasn't a good booker, but I'm a good booker now, at least for this quick moment. So we have Punk win the Rumble.
Okay.
We have Seth and Punk, WrestleMania Night 1. Seth wins. So, before we leave, Damian Priest comes in, cashes in because Seth and Punk killed each other. Cashes in, and now Priest is the new heavyweight champion. Book that. And give me my royalties for
Let's not book that.
it.
Let's not book that. Like I don't think they've done enough. As Matt Gallagher just thought, I don't think they've done enough yet to
But they
put
have.
Priest. They have not.
Yes,
he's
they
not on the level.
have.
To pin Punk and or
No,
Rollins.
Seth. To take Seth.
I'm just saying, either one is what I'm saying.
Yes, because Seth
At
is now
WrestleMania?
because Seth is beat up by Punk. Seth has gotten his ass whooped royally by CM Punk.
But here's the
Absolutely.
thing. At again, like I think if this was No Way Out, you know what I'm saying, or In Your House, like 15 or something like that. That might be a nice throw for like a Raw. But we're talking about a Mania at the biggest stage.
Wait.
And Punk and Damian Priest right now.
Wait. We had pure irony fashion. Seth cashed in on Mania. Was it against Brock and Roman?
Brock and Roman, because everybody hated Roman. That's why.
Yeah, but
still Brock and Roman was 1 and 2.
That's the reason why.
Seth
Brock
was
and
on
Roman's 1 and 2.
Seth was at that time was a higher level than Damian Priest is.
But we still have
Apparently.
time to get there, though. We still have time to get there. We do.
I wonder. But I wonder when we see him cash in, should the Judgment Day rift that is continuing to bubble more and more each week, should that be said and done? Right? Or do we get a cash in? Or do we get a cash in on that Monday? Here we go. Now you want to book that Monday night show where it's going to be
I already got it.
Drew and Seth. Right? The first Raw of the year that they already hyped up. I think they're calling it what? Day 1 edition or something like that?
Yeah, the Day 1 edition.
What if you have Damian try to cash in, fails to cash in?
Ooh.
And now he's got to tell the story of getting in the Rumble to get his spot. And maybe he failed to cash in because Judgment Day's interference backfires. But
I'll be against that, but I'm okay.
Keep that away. Keep him and that briefcase away from CM Punk, Seth Rollins.
Matt, let me tell you, like here's the trajectory of Damian Priest right now. His cash in is not going to be successful. We talked about the level.
I agree.
The level of the guys that are in that title picture right now. He's not on that level yet. They haven't done enough to put him there, and I don't think they have enough time to get him there.
I think y'all just some.
I think it's possible with the friction that, because he's barking now. He's like the angry dude of the. He's the angry dude of the group. He's barking at mommy giving him some side eyes. Like, right?
Did you see him break character with R-Truth last night? Did you see him break character?
Yeah, everybody break truth with R-Truth. I'm thinking that he goes to cash in, and I think the Judgment Day turns on his ass and costs him his match.
I like that though, because that's where the story's at right now. The story right now is with Judgment Day. The story really isn't making him champ.
Yep, it's not.
So if he cashes in and win, what do I win?
Or he can keep it, because if they go with the whole 1 year anniversary, that show was in July. I think July 1st, right? July 1st.
I thought it was June. 3rd. Oh no, yeah, it was the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, so we still got months and months and months to go. But you can just see where that trajectory of that story would go.
Right.
They would never do it in WWE, but I would.
But real quick, Matt,
did you see Rhea Ripley against Damian Priest? I would pay to see that.
Did you see like when Damian Priest was talking to the team, and he went to address like Finn, and he like kind of put his hand on Finn's chest,
and
then like Finn looked at his hand like, what you touching me for, man? Like,
yep, it's friction,
like, right?
That's a perfect segue. I was going to ask y'all a really big question, probably the biggest question of the night. Is it official that R-Truth is out of the Judgment Day?
Damn.
He got locked out. He got locked out.
Then he got
I'm going to say he is not out of it, because the only person that put hands on him was Damian Priest, right?
Yes.
No, they are.
No, you're right. Then he got jumped.
Yeah, everybody got foot on him.
So
yeah, everybody got foot on him. Because at first, Finn didn't put a. He had to put all his belts down, take his jacket off, and he finally got that one stump in. So
all right, it's over then. Yes.
Yeah.
He's out the Judgment.
Dang.
Got stumped out.
And protect him by all costs. Give me him on a lifetime contract. Have him go out there till he's 70, 75 years old.
Right.
Cracking
jokes.
He's
Gonna look good.
I don't even need to see you bump in the ring. Don't even wrestle. Just give me you and your backstage segments. He's been fantastic.
And we talking about passion. When he said that JD needs to be kicked out the Judgment Day, I lost everything.
That's good stuff. That is
what,
good stuff.
What else from Raw? It was some cool backstage stuff. I love when Kofi ran into Punk, and he was like, "You're making me crazy, man."
I don't do that no more.
Yeah, I don't do that
But you
anymore.
know what's funny though? Like, think about it. Punk hasn't been in WWE since New Day started. That is his gimmick when Punk left.
Was it?
Yes. I was like, yo, 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
It is. It is. We also have another person telling a story. I left Raw last night. I was happy. Raw was a great show. Thinking like everybody got a story. Drew talking about he has a story that he has to finish. So where we think is going to happen immediately with Drew. First off, do we even think Drew is going to resign? Is he on an open contract right now? I mean, what is this?
No, his contract's not up until I think March or April.
Oh, okay. Well, we have some time with him.
Yeah.
Oh, we got time. I'm thinking that he was due up this fall.
Seth's and Becky's contract is also up.
In July, I think.
In 2024. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way they don't resign.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
They both will be back in WWE. But I did think that was interesting. I've been telling you guys, like, there's a ton of contracts coming up in 2024 on both sides. But yeah, I think I want Drew in WWE. I do. I don't know what the sticking point is, if it's just strictly money that's holding this out. But I can't see him really going somewhere else. I wouldn't be shocked either. I wouldn't be shocked.
I have here, besides Rhea breaking Maxine's back spinal, we got Shinsuke and Cody.
Well, I do real quick. I do want to mention that. Not the best spot to put Maxine in, because she made a squash match look bad, and that's really hard to do. I mean, that's only her second singles match in WWE, so I get that part. But I felt bad for her because it wasn't good and it didn't look good. But we all know that they can easily just turn around and just say like she's still in training and kind of do that thing on TV. But it was what it should have been. Of course, it should have been a squash. But like, I was excited just to see like, okay, what does she have? And then I looked and I was like, ooh, that wasn't good. That wasn't the best.
So you're saying there's like an art to even be in the squash or in squash match?
Absolutely. Willie Mack and Warlow showed that from Collision. Holy hell! I know we'll talk about AEW here in a little bit, but he beat the brakes off of Willie Mack. Man. That was a good match. But no, what'd you say? I'm sorry. Oh, you were talking about Cody and Shinsuke.
So we got a really awesome video package from Shinsuke at the beginning of the show. Thought that was incredible. Just the production behind that. The match itself, I was kind of in and out of it. I don't know if, to be fair, if that's kind of what it lived up to kind of my standards. Is it because I was in and out of it that maybe that's why I feel that way? Or would y'all feel or thought that it was different? It just didn't live up to my expectations.
I liked the match. It was fine.
That's it?
Yeah, it was fine.
Insightful deep dive there for me, Sean. Well, the reason why you feel like that is two reasons. One, I don't need Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke Nakamura going 25 minutes on a Monday Night Raw.
That could have been it.
I don't. Especially in hour 3 after we had Seth and Punk's interaction. The second part, though, is because the story's not over. Like we saw with him spitting the red mist in his face. They're holding something.
No, that's great.
The next match.
Yeah, I liked how it ended, but I just thought the match itself. But again, now that you say that does make sense. That there is some more story, some more meat on that bone to tell. But then I also feel like, are they cheating us as a viewer if you're holding back?
No, because you got to have something left.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it's more because it went like 25.
I gotta tell you, like when I say it's fine, that's a WWE style main event match. You know, like that's that style.
True, but if you compare Seth and Jay from last week to that,
like Seth don't work that classic WWE style, right? You go back to his time in NXT, that was like some of the pushback that he had. Like they was trying to slow him down, trying to change the style up. He don't work that style. Cody wrestles that classic WWE style match, right? Or he has a bunch of gimmicks and stuff he does in the match. Shinsuke, he's changed his style since he's been in the company.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Like, so yeah, like that's like that. Like, I feel like Cody Rhodes is my favorite wrestler, but I feel like he's king of the 3.5-star match. And I think that Shinsuke is another 3-star, 3.5-star match guy.
I would have agreed with you with Cody's star, kind of where he usually lands before this year. I think any big match he's been in has well exceeded 3 stars. His matches with Brock, I thought, was bigger than 3 stars. Of course, Roman at Mania was. I think that's what he used to be, but it's also going to be interesting to see what that looks like when he's champion too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just looks completely different. Like, unlike any other challenger that we've seen, right? Maybe besides Austin. Austin felt completely different because he had to fight so much to get to that spot. But Cody is like, he's legit going to be a completely different person when he gets that title, because it's no longer now about finishing the story. Now it's just about hanging on to the title. So I just hope they have some like really good stories to keep up with that. Y'all got anything else on Raw before I bring up a couple of things that I have?
I'm good.
What you got?
Okay, so I'm sure y'all didn't see it. Did you see Booker T's comments about CM Punk being back?
No.
No, I didn't get a chance to read the article though. What did you say?
Okay, so you are our resident Booker T voice guy. Do you want me to send this to you and you can hit us with a Booker T? I'm gonna send this to you, and then I'll give you guys the other question I have before I send this. So I'm sending it to you now. But if you guys don't know, Booker T was a hater of Punk up until like a week, 2 weeks before Survivor Series. He was talking about how WWE don't need Punk because, you know, Punk didn't leave, Punk got fired, and like all this kind of stuff. So it's funny to see what he said, but I'll let you look at that real quick. I got a question for you. Friend of the show, Yusuf, sent it to me on X yesterday or a couple of days ago, and I was like, this is a good question to share with you guys. If Kurt Angle was still in his prime in wrestling, who is just one person you'd like to see him wrestle? So you only got one person.
And all of wrestling?
Actually said, yeah, Yusuf actually said Gunther, which I thought that was a good one. That's not mine, but anybody against Gunther is great. So if Punk is in it, if Angle is in his prime and he got one match, one opponent, who are you picking?
This is cheating. This ain't even fair. This is cheating. It got to be Gable. They're the same person. They're the same person.
Didn't even think about him. That's a great one.
Wait a minute, give it to me again. I was reading Booker T.
If Kurt Angle was still wrestling and in his prime, who is the one dream opponent you would have him wrestle?
Reigns.
That's a good one too.
Roman Reigns.
I said Kenny Omega.
I can see Kenny. I was gonna go
Absolutely.
Kenny too. Mm-hmm.
Give them 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Oh my God.
I think if this was like TNA, absolutely. But I'm thinking about like the WWE, like I think Roman Reigns would be a bigger match. That would be a huge match. I think like from a hardcore fan perspective, like from the work rate, the type of match that they can work, yeah, that would be, you know. But I feel like as far as like big time, like I think, and I think that, you know, Roman Reigns, he steps up in those moments a lot more than I think fans give him credit for. He can really go. He has his own style, but he can work. He's a really good. He's almost like kind of like John Cena. But John Cena, I don't think he gets enough props for how well he can go in the ring. But that's my match.
And it's their gears too, right? They have gears, and that was my critique on the SummerSlam match. Was it never got out of third gear? And Roman, anybody at a high level, has that fourth and fifth gear they can get to, and they know when to get to it. And during SummerSlam, we know he was hurt, and that's why I think it didn't get to that next gear. You know, in that spot where it's supposed to go up, and it just didn't go up. All right, so Booker T on CM Punk. Yeah,
this is actually kind of funny.
I shouldn't have read it.
Yeah, man. CM Punk wasn't hiding. He wasn't hiding away in some room making a surprise appearance. He was running around and mingling. I ran into CM Punk and Cater. Was sitting right there talking to Jimmy Porash. I walked up to CM Punk and I said, CM Punk, what up, man? He stands up and goes, what's up, my man? You flip-flopper? You know how the business is. Sometimes you're a heel, sometimes you're a babyface. And it was very cool. We talked small talk. He seemed to be at peace and ready to rewrite the legacy of CM Punk and finish it off properly.
Oh yeah,
Good job,
man.
E-Shine.
Let's look at shout out to
Yeah.
E-Shine and shout out to Booker T for doing the best moonwalk impersonation since Michael Jackson at the concert that he had long time ago. That boy flip-flopped, backtracked, moonwalked, but that's what you're supposed to do. That's what wrestling's about. That's
Is
what wrestling's
it?
about.
Is that what wrestling's about?
Yeah,
Backtracking
because you
and
know why?
flip-flopping?
Because if you don't get that, you get chokeholds and punches and fights in locker rooms. That's why.
But you know what you know what that piece in Booker T calls us out? It's CM Punk's personality. Right?
Mhm.
A lot of people may or may not just say hello to Punk, me and Booker T, they'll make some small talk. But he doesn't call out. But he called him out. Like, yo, flip flopper.
Yep.
Like, right, he like if he has something to say, he gonna say what he gotta say. And I think that's one of the things that probably rub them young boys in AEW the wrong way, where everybody, they don't come at you real. They don't give it to you raw. Like, right? CM Punk, I got something to say. I'm gonna say it. We gonna talk about it, laugh it off, or whatever, but I'm gonna get it off my chest. And I think you gotta respect that.
Of course you do, because it's from what we have seen and heard from a ton of veterans, and I listen to them, of course, it's always for the best.
Yeah.
And that quote was talking about Punk being backstage at NXT Deadline, and Punk is backstage at NXT this week. Of course, we haven't seen the show yet, but I don't think that he has an on-screen role. And they said that he's been back there, of course, talking to the talent about their matches, watching stuff with them. And I knew that was going to happen. I don't think I said it on the show, but I told Rhodesia, I said, when he's actually, I may have said it while we were watching Deadline. I said, he's going to get the itch. He's going to get that bug being with the NXT talent. And now him going to the PC and seeing just how, they groom the next crop of superstars. If this run goes the way I think it's going to, and he is going to be professional and everybody's making money and numbers are through the roof, I can easily see him. I don't think he'll want to move, but I can easily see him being a regular at the PC, to help the next generation.
To add to that too, I think that the guys and gals. It's funny how I always kind of feel like NXT has one of the better women divisions in the entire world.
It's booking. Sean told you. Everybody's got to have something. Yep.
But I feel like the guys and gals will be more receptive to CM Punk's feedback, because I think I think that it's the community there, right? I think it's how they bring them in and try to understand, hey, I'm bringing these veterans in to make you better, right? And I think a lot of the guys and gals down there are like programmed to like, hey, let me take this feedback and let me take the positive out of it and let me build myself up. A couple months ago, and he was talking to Mark Henry, and he seemed very humble. He seemed like he was very acceptable to like Mark Henry. He's like, hey, no, please, OG, put me on game.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, like, hey, he like, hey, take my number, like, give me the feedback, give me the coaching. Whereas you hear a lot of guys at AEW like, no, I don't need the feedback. Let me do me. I'll figure it out on my own.
Well, who was that? Was that Tully? I think Tully Blanchard allegedly said. And of course, you can only take him for the word too, because like wrestlers aren't the most honest folks in the world. He said that not once did a talent come up to him and pick his brain or ask for advice. Maybe they don't. Once again, maybe they don't want it. But to have somebody like that back there, it's like
you're not asking them,
or they probably know what's going to be told to them. That could be the other thing too, and I don't want to hear that.
there's a big difference between when I think about, like, let's just use NXT in this example, and let's use like the development of AEW, which they don't have one. But you look at today's NXT, a lot of those people are just like college athletes and just athletes and supermodels. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. Whereas when NXT first started, it was a lot like AEW, where you had a lot of indie wrestlers who have been doing this for 10 years already, and they finally got signed to WWE. So you look at the backstage or the locker room for AEW, the veterans that's there were independent wrestlers, veterans, except for like the people who just came over from WWE. But it was like on the foundation of indie wrestlers. And then the new school of people that they just never was taught that etiquette. The whole thing of the Booker T and the Punk thing, which I do feel like Booker T completely moonwalked that whole thing back. But Punk stood up and shook his hand, or he got up and respected him. And that's just something that you do. And I don't know if that's the same etiquette or standard in AEW locker room.
It absolutely no, it is. Don't confuse etiquette with not wanting somebody's advice.
Yeah. Okay, but so let's put all this together.
It's not a disrespectful locker room for sure, no. But I think that they know if they didn't ask Tully Blanchard, who at one point was part of the hottest group in the history of wrestling, any type of advice, is because I know what they're going to tell me to do. So tell me to slow down. They're going to tell me to not go 100 miles an hour because I got to protect my body. Like, and no, I'm not trying to hear that. Like, this is new. This is the way we want to do it here. You can take that old school mentality somewhere else. I'm not trying to hear that. That to me could be the only feasible answer to why somebody would not. And I use Tully because he just had that interview. There's been other legends and old timers that said the same thing when they have been backstage at AEW. So that's what I think it is.
But I think some people also don't understand that, meaning those young wrestlers, they don't understand that you can go up there and pick their brain. Yeah, may hear it. Do they feel welcome to? Who knows? But they weren't. The culture of the locker room of AEW is 40 years later than what WWE locker room is. The culture itself. Again, I don't really see a problem with having faster matches to try to innovate. That's what happened with WWE and how they skyrocketed to the next level. They made wrestling entertainment. So it's just another evolution of wrestling itself. Again, I do think that you need to have veterans in there that could say you need to slow down before you hurt yourself and you take your possible 20-year career down to just 7 years, for sure. But there is a place where you can innovate. And I don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to hear an old timer opinion, because I know what I want to do. The part of that is that the millennials moving into what they want to see their reality to look like. So again, I'm not going to knock either one of them. I just think that maybe if there were some other veteran leadership to say, hey, there's a world to AEW locker room. There's a world where you could do both, where you can absolutely be innovative and try new things, but also these veterans are here not for show. They are here because they have 30, 40, 50 years of wrestling experience.
Before we get to,
real quick, Mac, I was going to say, and you think about it though, and that's why a lot of them dudes ain't over the way they're supposed to be over in that company. All right, they trying to do it their way, and they're doing it their way, and they're getting injured left and right. Right? No one pops for them. They're just popping for the next move or the next spot. I mean, it's a shame. So you would think that at some point you will wake up and be like, hey, maybe I need to learn a new hold, as Jim Ross would say. Maybe I need to learn something from some history. Like, I bet maybe a lot of them guys don't even know who Tully Blanchard, his history or his story. Like, right, you go to NXT, Kiani, is it Kiani? That's it?
Kaylani?
Right.
Well, which one? Which one?
Yeah, Jordan. K. Jordan.
Kaylani.
She said they have a history class that they take, and they study wrestling. Like, right? I wonder how many of them cats in AEW study history.
Probably not.
Probably none of them, right? Because if they were, they would be trying to pick some of these guys' brains. And here's the thing: at the same time,
MJF, Adam Cole.
Adam Cole is the WWE guy and the indie guy.
No, he is an AEW guy right now. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But I'm talking coming to, he already got part of the machine training in NXT with Undisputed Era. So he did get some of that already. We can't deny that.
FTR.
FTR.
Watching tape. Yep.
But the rest of these cats, we'll see what the future holds.
Before we get into our AEW talk, shout out to Wole, another friend of the show. He sent me a message a couple days ago, and I forgot to even talk about this on Sunday. TNA Wrestling partnering with Endeavor, streaming to distribute its on-demand subscription service TNA Plus starting on January 5th. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it basically just talks about their streaming service is being powered by Endeavor. It says the partnership combines TNA expertise as a top professional wrestling promoter with Endeavor Streaming's unparalleled knowledge in delivering innovative direct-to-consumer offerings, marketing tools, analytics, and predictive modeling. It'll be available, whatever. Now it looks like $9.99 a month or $95.99 per year. And that starts January 5th. Wole's question was, what's the possible implications of this, and could we see TNA working with WWE? What's your guys' thoughts?
E.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking of some things here in my head.
I didn't really think much of it when I read it. But I will hope. We talked about it just, as friends about the TNA. I hope this kind of propels them to kind of step up their production and just the promotion. Because I would really love a solid third brand, so Endeavor can help them. That'd be awesome. Because this is one thing I do know, that WWE doesn't need TNA in any kind of way.
Right.
Right? Like they don't have any specific talent on their roster that you can say, oh, we have some dream matches that we would love to have. I don't think a partnership between the two companies makes any sense for WWE. But however, I think it makes all the sense in the world for TNA if they can get, a little bit of the infrastructure, you get a little bit of the technology. I don't know if this is going to hopefully increase their production to make it look more like a 2024 television show. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for it if this is going to continue to help bring another promotion up.
The actual question.
It's really just talking about app on here. In addition to reclaiming the iconic TNA moniker, the TNA Plus app is relaunching with an all-new dynamic look, as well as expanded options and increased functionality. It talks more about the app and flagship pay-per-views, etc. How, where you can get the apps from, Android TV, Fire TV, iOS. So it's only app talk in here. So as much as your hope is they have a product that looks better, I think that has nothing to do with this actual deal right here.
To be clear then, will their weekly episodic shows be on this app?
No, I don't think so. Is it?
Right?
But they'll still have their TV, right? Oh yeah, the library. Yeah. But
library.
This is not the WWE network. If Raw and SmackDown was also on the network, this is
because the old. So this is an upgrade from their other platform,
right?
Impact Plus. Impact Plus had the shows on there, the weekly shows,
like real time.
I don't think it was real time, though. I think it was delayed.
Okay.
It was delayed. I think it might have been like a couple hours later or something like that.
I will share this. I will say that there will absolutely be some bleed over into this. If Endeavor is looking to they purchase this pro wrestling IP, there's no way that if you have the Machine, who has done this for 40 years very well, not bleed over into that. Not where maybe we will see as fans, but maybe just down to corporate people. Might have been some people who've lost their job. I know about half people in corporate lost their jobs earlier this year. Maybe not that many, but people lost their jobs in corporate. There absolutely is, I feel, will be some bleeding over into TNA Impact. I do believe, because again, you have this one parent company and you have resources and assets in the same category of pro wrestling. Why would you not pull and give and take from that to build up both of them? I just don't think maybe we will see it, because when we have a development, WWE has a developmental, they have NXT, but I do think that there will be some kind of bleeding in between the two. We just probably won't see it.
I think the most we'll see is maybe like commercials or promo spots on UFC TV or WWE TV with it. I think that's the extent of it right now. Of course, anything is possible. We know that. We absolutely could see a couple of TNA stars at the Rumble, you know, and then never see them again. So yes, all that kind of stuff is possible at the end of the day. I just don't think we see any of that anytime soon. I think this is more just kind of, hey, they're powering the app. And if Endeavor says, hey, let's throw a 30-second spot on, you know, Raw or on a UFC show along with a WWE spot or something like that, okay, cool. I think that's kind of about the end of that, though. But anything that can help, that's what this is about, man. We want the wrestling world to thrive. E, I know you got some AEW things you want to bring up, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so kind of a couple of things with AEW. I know last time we spoke about AEW, I had a couple of concerns about the direction of the company, you know, following the exit of QT, the production guy, Kevin Sullivan, not the wrestler, was fired. But I will say this though, about QT, I didn't mention last time we spoke about it, but if QT's contribution to the creative was QT TV, then I'm
okay
good with I'm good with him not being part of the creation. I'm good with that direction not being there. Oh, and real quick, I'm actually segueing my own topic here with Kevin Sullivan. Matt, did you hear that they didn't hold production meetings?
No,
what do you mean by that? It can't be what I'm hearing.
This is what I heard. Like this might be scuttlebooty, but I was listening to Cody and Disco talk about Kevin Sullivan on the production team. They didn't hold production meetings.
I can't believe that. I don't believe. I'm not gonna believe that. I can't believe that.
I couldn't believe that either. But that's how I think about it, right? Because
Matt, make all the sense in the world,
right?
That
like especially a lot of things you talk about.
Yes.
Like
I don't know how to shoot this because I don't know what's coming.
That would be
you could take Toni Storm from last Dynamite. Yeah. I love how they switched from black to white in her matches. I think that's incredible. But they were late on a couple of her spots. Yeah. And I'm just like, how are you late on that when this is her thing? Like, that is blatant. I can see that she's about to do something that needs to be shot a certain type of way. I hope that's not the truth, E. But if it is, man, that answers every single question and gripe I've had about their production.
With some of the camera angles, was like the missed spots, a lot of the technology snafus. Like maybe that's why maybe that's why Ben was fired, man. Like I was trying to look it up, but I didn't see anything concrete. But you know, those guys know people.
And I do know I thought that was there was allegedly a lot of talent that was upset that Sullivan got let go, and they were upset because they said that he knew what the original vision of AEW was and could portray it.
Got it.
I have some issues with that statement, but they're there in the building, so maybe I should not have an issue with it. But if he lost his job because he wasn't doing something correct, how can you be upset? Now, if he's doing everything perfectly, which maybe he was, remember he was the post-producer VP, and somebody made that decision who came from the outside, and there's some other issues, okay, I could see that. But that really threw me off when I heard say Talon was upset because he knew the original vision of the company. It's like, okay. This is when it'd be perfect if we had them on streaming devices so we could easily just pull up a random episode from like year one of Dynamite just to kind of see like, all right, well, let me see if I can tell the difference. But we're not there yet. Tony Khan did say, though, today that he had a meeting with WB today, and it went really good. It was an in-person meeting. So hopefully we hear something soon about streaming, or hopefully for them also their deal, because Dave Meltzer came out. You know, some of the things I don't trust Meltzer. You already know how I feel about Meltzer. But he came out and said that things have drastically changed with WWE's next TV deal that they hadn't signed yet. And they're saying it is almost majorly due to CM Punk and the numbers that he's bringing in already.
Oh, so drastically in a good way. So drastically
in a good way.
In a good way.
In a good way. So there was talk about Warner Bros. Discovery being interested in WWE, and I still don't think that's the case. I think Tony is like way too 2 feet. I'm not talking to anybody else. This is my home for them to sign WWE. But could you imagine if like WB had a monopoly like that and had WWE and AEW under the umbrella?
That would be crazy.
Ridiculous.
That would be crazy.
E,
But I didn't think
next
about
topic,
that punk fight piece though. Go ahead.
I just gotta say this: not having production meetings is just as dumb as the NFL not paying these refs a full-time salary.
This is getting out of control. These games are out of control. It's not a football podcast, but are you kidding me, man? Y'all make $1 billion a week. Y'all can't say, hey, look, refs, leave your other jobs. You come in and you referee, and on Monday and Tuesday, we watching game film on what you missed and what you did well. We're going to put you through classes so you are ready to go every Saturday and Sunday. I digress. You got me passionate about that.
Things that make you go, Yeah, but I wanted to talk to you guys about that production piece. I actually didn't write it down here in my notes, but it popped in my mind as I started going through this with you guys. But with that being said, I gotta be honest with you guys. I've actually enjoyed AEW TV.
Let's go.
Couple of weeks.
Let's go, baby.
I put my headphones a little bit tighter just so I can hear that again.
I've actually enjoyed the shows, because we talk about AEW, find that identity, right? Like they can't compete with the WWE. They need to find their lane. And with that being said, there was a lot of talk about this Continental tournament, and it's not that bad. We are getting some great matches. We got some interesting stories. Now, I want to dig in deep with you guys about some of these stories really quick here. But give me your thoughts just really quickly. Give me your overall thoughts on the show since this Continental tournament has started.
Overall, I'm loving the placement of who has the most points on the blue and gold team. The main event with Andrade El Idolo and Bryan Danielson, that was fire to me. Fire. Do we know if Danielson's really hurt, like going to be out? Do we know?
Oh, he's not going to be out. No.
Okay. Got a little, that match itself on Collision got a little sick to me at the end with El Idolo. And one thing about Bryan won't, pull a punch. He's going to be stiff and work hard with you, but he'll take it too. Just like Moxley. I guess that's the BBC. That's what they all about, right? Isn't that what they call it, BBC?
Excuse me?
What are they called?
Whoa, big time. Whoa, big time. It took an hour and 8 minutes for you to have some type of pornography on fans comment.
Blackpool Combat Club. Okay. BCC.
Oh, God. Man, no wonder why you want her to get off the spot.
She definitely wants to.
Oh, God.
Jeez, she can't take you nowhere out here.
BBC,
Damn.
BCC. Jeez. Well, okay.
Hey, I'm wait a minute now. Hey, I'm about to pull the curtain back. Matt, don't you got a tat? What's your tat say again?
Look at this guy. Don't worry about that, pal. That is hilarious. Can't take y'all nowhere, man. Are we supposed to be talking about AEW right now? Lock back in.
Hey, we got some initiatives we trying to focus on right now, man. Rhodesia more so than me, but
BCC.
Oh, man.
I'm loving the tournament. I knew Tony's vision of this tournament when he first announced it. I think maybe it could have fell a little bit short in the very beginning, like outside of the first match. But I think it's starting to show what it's supposed to be or what it's growing to be. I'm really liking it. I feel really was a G1 classic type vibes from it. I'm liking it. But I never really had a problem with AEW TV.
I have not been as high as E on AEW TV to the point where I have not been high on AEW TV at all before probably this week, over the last few weeks. So the tournament is absolutely getting to where it needs to get to. This feels like now that we've gotten, who's it been 3 or 4 weeks so far? I think it started the week of Thanksgiving. So 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in. This is kind of one of those mini series back in the day. This is old school, right? Let's see, I'm keeping with the form. Man, y'all remember them
Yeah,
3-night,
let's
them
go.
4-night miniseries used to
Yes.
come on network TV,
Mhm.
CBS, ABC, where you
ABC,
have to
yeah.
watch 3 days in a row.
Yep.
This feels like the first few weeks was night one, where you could miss night one because they're going to show you the recap before night two starts, and then night
Mhm.
two is where it really gets going, and then night three was the climax. And that's how I feel about this tournament. Now that Swerve is undefeated, now that Mox is undefeated, and they're fighting on Dynamite this week, and Mox cut a hell of a promo on Collision. He is masterful when it comes to them real type promo settings. They had that guy in WWE like with gas masks, and that was, man, that was rough.
Dean wasn't bad. Don't do that.
He toward the end he was horrific. And it
Well,
wasn't
not
on him,
toward
of
the
course.
end. Toward
Yeah,
the end,
it was horrible.
because he was
It
leaving.
was horrible.
But
Yep.
before that part happened, I don't think it was that bad.
But I have not been high on AEW. I've actually really not have enjoyed it much. Yeah, because I'm getting my feel completely from NXT and both shows on WWE. So it's like, all right, you really need to wow me. And when I see things that bother me as the way I like to consume my wrestling, consume my content, it irritates me, and it irritates me, and it irritates me. And I didn't get any of that watching Collision. I thought Collision was great. Dynamite, which we never even had a chance to talk about, Adam against Christian, and that match, which I thought was really, really good. And then I get on X that night, and there is a ton of messages and tweets about how horrible the finish was. Between Ed should have won clean. Make that make sense. He's gonna win clean their first interaction, their first match. Like, where does the story go if he wins clean? The other one was Nick Wayne's wife. Oh my God.
Mama.
Whoa, mama, yes. Mama. And yeah, she's not a wrestler. Like, yes, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. But was it enough to where we should be up in arms about it? No, it wasn't. So I thought that was interesting because I thought that match was like really good. Do y'all remember that match?
Oh yeah, I actually had it on the docket here. I want to talk about the Edge and Christian match. I actually really enjoyed the match. Really good. So yeah, Wayne's mom. Damn, I'm not gonna say that. I started to say something, but I'm not gonna say it because I'm sure she's a nice woman.
She's a nice looking woman too.
Yeah, she's nice attractive. You know, she's a.
Yes.
You know, I like them tall and thick. She's a bad actor.
Man, you a hater.
She's a bad actress. Like, as soon as she came in that ring, I knew that she's gonna hit Edge.
But you knew it
Right?
because you knew that's where the story should
No.
go.
Let me tell you why I knew. Because when she came in there, it seemed like she was focusing mainly on Edge for like the majority of like her stare down. But then Christian would get up, like he started begging her off. I'm like, bro, she ain't even looking at you. So she'll go glance at like Christian, look back at it. She'll glance at Christian a little bit, then look back at Edge. And then Edge started Christian get up, like start begging her off again, like, yeah, no, give me some too. Like, right, you're supposed to be looking at both of us, right? You're supposed to be like you're conflicted. But she didn't seem like she was conflicted for like the half the time when she's making her decision. It seemed like she was keyed in on knocking the Edge out. And Christian kind of had to get up to kind of redirect her to like, yo, all right, you're supposed to be going back and forth. And then towards the end, before she actually made a decision, it seemed like she started going back and forth. But in the when she first got in there, she was keyed right in on Edge. Look at the first like 5 to 10 seconds. Like, she was keyed total Edge. So that's just somebody who's not used to being in that position. Like, right, they know what they're supposed to be doing. Oh, I forgot, I'm supposed to look in the Christian too. Like, right, so that's what I'm talking about. And then what I've seen from her from a character standpoint, and that horrible acting thing she did when they were backstage with her son and Christian.
That was a back segment.
That wasn't good.
The whole segment was bad. Yeah.
From what I've seen in this moment from her, from a character standpoint, it hasn't been that great. Unless she's going to be knocking my socks off as a nasty heel mom, which she very well could. I just could have. I would have rather them introduce like Nick's sister, like, right, like they could have took one of the girls, and they like Nick's sister or cousin, something like that.
She herself.
Yeah, and they could have plugged her in this spot or something. Like,
No, because
I'm not sure the mom's going to add to it. That's all
you
I'm
need
saying.
Christian to be Nick's daddy so we can get that over the top tongue kiss with him and his mom, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's what we need. We need that shot of Christian and Nick Wayne's mom going crazy like it was Christian and Trish Stratus years ago when she turned on Jericho.
But that was Trish Stratus though too. So I mean,
and this is Nick Wayne's mom. And
yeah.
Nick Wayne, don't listen to E. Tony Khan, put more Nick Wayne's mom on my TV, please. There,
well,
yes.
Y'all didn't ask me, but I didn't see the match. All I saw was the end result, and at the end of the day, she sold whatever move she took perfectly fine. I don't even know what happened to her. I just looked up at the TV and saw that she was laying face down on the ground. And I'm like, she's selling that really good. I actually gave her props for doing it.
What match you talking about?
Maybe I was watching something else. Maybe
and then that's when you lay out. See, look, when you do a podcast and there's 3 folks, right? It is perfectly okay to be like, either I didn't see it and I'm gonna keep it moving, or even better, you just lay out.
But I just said it. I said I didn't see the match. I looked up. I thought she was on the ground. Was she not on the ground?
If she was, she wouldn't face down.
Hey,
she looked face down to me.
So our podcast exclusive listeners, I want you to. There's a story throughout this podcast. Bro, he's just drinking.
Oh my God.
She's drinking. So I don't know if she's remembering what she's supposed to be remembering correctly. I don't know what she's talking about now.
I'm gonna give y'all the timestamp. And then both of y'all gonna apologize to me.
Timestamp of what?
Of her being on the ground face down.
Okay.
When?
Evidently, I don't know. I told you I didn't watch the match. I just looked up and I saw her face down.
She was never late.
Yeah, just future reference. If you didn't see it, that's when you just don't say anything.
Never late.
Yeah, you could get up and like just leave and then just come back.
She was
and we just keep it going. We would keep it going.
Oh my!
I'll show y'all.
Unless Edge looks like a woman.
Keep moving.
Right.
It's like a woman.
And his not Edge, it's Adam. Y'all been calling this man Edge the whole time.
Like, you know what? This like we need to just come up with a nickname we'll just do for him going forward. I'm not calling him Adam Copeland. That's not enough. I mean, that's too much. That's too much. That's just like. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I'm not calling him the Cope either. Now, see the reason why it was easier for me to switch over to Saraya versus Paige. Actually, I think that's a really pretty name that she has. So I'll give her that. It's pretty unique.
Paige has only been around for a cup of coffee compared to how long we've been calling Adam Copeland Edge.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish Dolph Ziggler, he's Dolph Ziggler. I'm not calling him Nick Nemeth.
Nick Nemeth. That's going
to be Nick. If Seth was to leave and go to AEW, I'm not calling him Kobe. That man is Seth Rollins.
No, he'll go back to Tyler Black. And I can do that. I knew him as Tyler Black.
I call him Tyler Black.
Yeah, I knew him as Tyler Black too. So I want to talk to you guys about the Devil storyline. Because I'm still intrigued with Toni Storm, but it's Toni Storm. I don't know what story we're telling with her just yet, but I like what she's doing. I like her thing. But this Devil storyline. So when Hangman was doing his interview, and then all of a sudden MJF runs up on him and starts running his mouth. And he's just healing on this man. Healing on him. And I'm like, damn, ain't you supposed to be a babyface now? Like, where are you coming at this dude? Then I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, you trying to accuse him of being the devil. Okay. So we got another guy being sucked into the MJF universe, right?
I know you love it, right? It wasn't enough.
MJF is like the multiverse where all things tie into him. Like, right? And I told you guys for a long time, like all these story threads, these multiple story threads he had, like I felt like it diluted the major story that was trying to be told around him because I didn't know specifically what to focus on. Like, right? And then in my mind, I'm like, oh, now he's creating this feud now with, hey, man, bro, don't you got enough drama? You got enough beef? Like, oh, they're tying this into the Devil storyline. So I started thinking further about the Devil storyline itself. And I feel like this angle, this story, this potential character should be much bigger than it is right now. I think about like the course of history, like these who done it, who's this masked man, who's this new mysterious clique has always been huge for wrestling. Like, right? A mysterious new group, mysterious new bad guy. Who is it? What's going on? Usually that's like a hot angle. It's a potential hot new bad guy and clique. And I don't feel like this devil character or the Stooges are going to be hot at all. I feel like right now, I feel like this is a very lukewarm like situation. And that's saying something because I think that MJF is a very compelling and interesting character. I just kind of feel like the story that's being written and being told involving MJF in this entire situation has been off. But I think if it's somebody lesser than MJF was in the same situation, they'd be doing much worse. So my question to you guys is, do you think that this whole storyline is weaker than it should be?
Weaker than it should be? Not necessarily. Right now with AEW, I'm trying to find out what am I most drawn to in storyline. Is it Christian and Adam? Is it the Devil storyline? Is it the tournament, the Continental tournament? Is it Swerve in that? And I think he's gonna win the whole thing. But to me, I don't think that it's lesser than what it could be. I just know that we have to have a really, really good payoff because it's trending that it won't be a great payoff. But I don't have a problem with all these people possibly being the devil. I think for me, that brings excitement to it. So it takes you off the scent of who really is the devil, which in the end, I think it's Tony Khan, but I still think it's MJF as well. But I think that all these different people being the devil, completely 100% fine with it. I think this is just kind of just a middle of we're trying to get to the end of December to find out who the devil is. And I'm hoping we find out at the end of December who the devil is. Par for the course.
That's a good question. No, I don't think it's less than what it should be. What's happening is they're taking us on different paths, different road, right? We just talked 2 episodes ago about who's the devil. And now I'm changing my answer after Dynamite last week. Hell, I may change it after Dynamite this week. But now I'm going with MJF as the devil. We know Hangman didn't hit him with a broken beer bottle. Right? Like, that just didn't happen. So now it's at a point of, okay, are you doing this on purpose? Are you intentionally setting up to make it look like it's these folks that it's not? Even when it was Wardlow, which also wouldn't make sense, but maybe he's down with Wardlow. Right? Maybe this whole thing is they're in cahoots. When Wardlow was in there and he came back out and his hair was all messed up and they had MJF being held down, the look on MJF's face was like overly acting. I think now, if we look at the way it's being done, is I think MJF is the devil. And I think this leads into him turning back heel, which is great. I've gotten my face MJF. I think it fell a little bit flatter than what I wanted. And it could have been because of where we are with Adam Cole's injury. But remember, I was harping on them turn MJF face. And I think I've gotten my fill of MJF as a face now. I've gotten it for half a year. And now I'm kind of ready for them to move on. And I think this could work perfectly into the timing of the 2024 contract piece and all that. If he becomes the devil, he's got to have a hell of an explanation of why he did what he did. Why am I making this like the devil? And of course, we know the whole saying of devil's greatest trick is to pull off like he wasn't here, or whatever that is. So that's what I think it is, because it went from, oh, Adam Cole's the devil, to, oh, now Wardlow's involved, to, oh, it's Roddy and whoever in the Undisputed Era, to, oh, now there's more than one devil, like they're mass people, to, oh, Hangman's now the devil. That's just a little too convenient. It's too convenient. So
but I feel like, as you said, I think part of it, because you think about, like, it's like, I don't feel like this is a hot angle. But I don't think there's a lot of buzz around this. There's questions, but I don't think there's a lot of buzz that you normally would have with this type of situation. And the WWE, for instance, if they were doing something similar, like, right, that would be a big part of the show and a story thread itself on this group and this dynamic. So, as you mentioned, like, so, okay, it's MJF the whole time, but why? You are the top guy. You're the champion. Why are you going through this extreme to frame yourself, and to what ends and for why?
To keep the championship, but to keep the championship. That's all it is.
Well, as of this moment, he hasn't needed any of those people or anyone to keep the championship. He beat and ruined 2 men's career righteous, man. We ain't seen them. We've seen them, but they ain't been the same since. Like, right, he's beating 2 dudes at a time. So you mean tell me you got to wear a mask and fake your own beat ups and get a whole crew to do what exactly? I don't get why. And the same thing with Wardlow, right? Wardlow, if he's potentially part of it, and this is what I'm talking about, like stories, right? Wardlow comes back out of nowhere, and he said, "I'm gunning for MJF to potentially be under the mask and gunning for MJF." Like, why are you masking yourself? You've already made your intentions clear. Like, why? What's in it for? What are you doing?
It's not because it's not him. It's MJF. And to answer your question, he's doing all this to throw the sin off so he doesn't have to defend his title. So he can stay as a champion. He's not down with any crew. He's been down with crews. He's been down with Jericho.
He's been defending his title.
But what I'm talking what I'm talking about as far as he doesn't have a group of people like how he had before, whether JAS, whether it was Adam, not Copeland, the other Adam.
The Pinnacle you're talking about?
Yeah, all of that. He's always had a crew. Always. He had Wardlow as his man. Now that he's solo by himself, he has to make this whole different type of reality. And now I'm going to bring in and make everything so convoluted. And who's really the devil? Well, we're going to do things here to make this person like the devil, that person like the devil. I'm going to pre-record something. Then I'm going to be laid out with a beer bottle of crack beside my head. I mean, this is his work. At the end of the day, he still has the championship.
The only reason that doesn't make sense, though, is because the Devils have been working against him. So, like, the way this would make sense, if we wanted to go with this, is the Devils laid him out before a championship match, and that championship match was
there
off.
We go. But that's what I'm thinking.
But it hasn't happened.
But he still hasn't had. He didn't lose his championship from them beating him up. That's what I'm getting at.
But they haven't helped him.
But that's the point of the devil. The devil's to make you act like he's not the devil. It's meant to do that to you.
Here's the one problem with AEW booking and then this storyline. It sounds like a lot of fan book shit with a lot of convoluted, unnecessary things that just ultimately doesn't really tie in to make sense. Like all of that, none of it. I mean, like, look, I'm not saying that maybe that's what they're not going to do, but at the end, you got one guy who's been winning matches pretty strongly on his own all this time to convolutedly create a group to keep a title. Like, it just doesn't, none of it really ultimately would make sense and give you a payoff that's going to be satisfying in the end. And I think that's part of the reason why there's not a big amount of huge buzz around this whole storyline. This type of storyline is a classic storyline in wrestling. We've seen it countless of times, and it's usually pretty exciting. You're usually excited about this type of thing. I haven't heard anybody that's been saying they're overly excited about the reveal for this character or this group coming in.
But you also have WWE who's clicking on all cylinders. So if you are a wrestling fan, of course, this Devil story is not the top of the list. I got Punk over here.
The Devil story, I think, was the top of the list the first few weeks. I think that the story has gone too long without a major next level piece. That's what it is. Yeah, they're adding wrestlers. Like I said, we feel like it was Wardlow under the hood one time. I still think it was Kyle O'Reilly last week, actually, as one of the people. I know that movement that he does. So they're adding wrestlers to it, but they're not adding. It's like the Bloodline story. If every couple months we didn't get something else that was definitive, and we haven't gotten anything definitive yet. That's why I feel like it's kind of going the wrong way. It's time for them to have something definitive. And maybe we get it this week. But I think that's why, I think that's why you don't feel like, oh, this is what it should be. Because it started out super high in the who done it, who did it. And then it kind of just got to a point where they just keep adding layers on it without answering any other questions. So we talked about it. They have to stick the landing. And every week that goes by, and the more they keep adding to it, I'm just like, unless this is one of the best thought out, drawn out storylines in AEW history, which it may well be if you have the right people thinking this. It's going to be hard to stick the landing. Or the other thing I thought about too is what if the legit injuries that have happened has made them pivot? Like, what if somehow, would it make sense if they do the reveal at World's End and it's like a whole group of people we've seen already, and then a few ex-WWE people that their 90 days will be up by that time. Would that even make sense? I wonder.
I just don't think the Devil storyline is as bad or as lackluster as maybe Ishan is saying, maybe what you're saying too, Matt. I think it's just, is it going a little bit too long? Maybe. I can't argue that part, but I don't have a problem with it. It just, WWE is so hot. I just have to look at it by comparison. My intention is just going over to WWE and with the storylines is where they do storylines very well and character building very well. That's just taking up a lot of my attention. If I was just an AEW chick, I probably would be like, okay, no, I'm liking this Devil line, the storyline.
No,
well,
I mean,
that's part of the problem, though. I don't think it's that big of a. It's how it should be to an AEW fan. Like, right, you got Uncle
But
Dave.
are you?
Who's a
Would
big
you say
AEW
you?
guy.
Would you say you are a true
See,
AEW fan?
when I talk about, I'm not. When I make a comment, I'm not specifically talking about me. I'm talking about like when I read things and I listen to people comments,
but I'm
things of that
asking you.
nature. I'm talking about the overall post. Like, I think it's over. I think it's convoluted. Like, I don't think that I don't think they're going to give us a proper finish to the match. I actually think this storyline is one of the things that makes them WWE light. They're trying to do this huge arcing, over convoluted type of story where they should just shut up and wrestle. To be honest with you, give me a Continental Classic match.
Work, though. I think they've been trying to do that, and that hasn't worked. I think you need more.
I think that now y'all, not y'all, but you're saying two different things. First, you say that you want the storylines. Now they shut up and wrestle. No, we've been saying that we want to have some substance to these stories.
But if they're gonna give us, this ain't substance. If you're gonna give me junk food, don't give me food at all. Like that's
you
that's
said
what
you
this
wanted
is.
junk food.
This is
episode
junk
30.
Food.
That's all you wanted was junk food. Do you remember that?
This is junk food. This is M&M's.
You wanted junk food 30.
This is
30
M&M's dipped in whipped cream. That's what this is. That's what this is right here. This ain't what I want. Like, this isn't what I talked about. And I think that they'll do better off, be well better off telling simpler, easy to follow stories that make sense with good wrestling. This ain't simple or easy to follow. This is some convoluted. Like, I'm trying to tell, like, the Lost. So. They ain't the Lost, man. They're not look, let me tell you, I'm gonna be 100% right. They don't have the talent or the personnel to write episodic Lost television. They just don't. This is somebody with a crayon writing on a piece of paper and coming up with stuff every week. And it looked like every week.
I'm sorry.
Like, I know, I know y'all like make-believe, y'all like coloring books, but I'm a man who doesn't, all right? Give me a novel. This ain't a novel. This is a crayon book.
I can't do this.
This is a crayon.
I can't do this.
This is a coloring book. And guess what? They're not even coloring the lines, y'all. They're not even coloring the lines, y'all. They scribble scrabbling. Like, the color's supposed to be blue, and they didn't use red, y'all. All right, it's supposed to be purple. They didn't use white.
You are an AEW hater. That's what it is. You're an AEW hater.
I just said I enjoyed the shows.
A couple of shows.
I don't enjoy.
But you can't talk about that Devil storyline and say that is not all what it's supposed to be. In the level that you talk about crayons. I can give you colored pencils. I give you color pencils. But crayons? Dude.
Well, listen, it's three of us, and Matt has already admitted that he thinks it's a little convoluted as well. So I don't think I'm that far off base.
You know,
but
if you say, hey, Matt, thumbs up, thumbs down on the storyline, I'm not giving it a thumbs down. I just continue to worry that after every week, it's going to be really hard to stick the landing. But I am hoping they have flushed this all out, and it's going to make the most sense in the world, and it leads to the whole contract of 2024, right? That it felt like, okay, there's a reason why he kept going with it. They kept going with it. And the timing just makes too much sense now. For his contract to allegedly be up, I think the day before the first Dynamite of the year, this just makes too much sense. But you gotta stick the landing. Y'all got 2-3 weeks. And somebody will be able to go back and say episode 90, who was right.
And guess what? You just built it. You built it. This has been the reason. He's the devil. He's going to win it. What is the Devil's In or the World's In? He's going to leave AEW to go to WWE as the AEW champion. He needed to create some storyline. He needed to create some kind of storyline to make sure to ensure he had the championship title come the end of his contract.
Let me ask you.
That's a motive.
Let me ask you, Mac. I guess you're the neutral one. If MJF's ultimate reveal as the devil, give me your excitement level.
Do I hear the promo that explains everything yet, or he takes the mask off and it's him? Which one? Because that's going to completely change. Like, say, like, okay, let's fast forward. It is Rhodes in right now. He wrestles Joe. He beats Joe. Somehow the masked person gets in the ring. He takes the mask off and is okay, and they go to black. They go black. My excitement level is probably 1 out of 10. Now, if something happens and I get the maybe I get a incredible video package that shows every single time he was the devil and it was him. Now I'm probably looking at about an 8 or a 9. And it wouldn't be because of the future. It would be, you told me a great story and you showed me all the connections. At this point, this is the last thing I'll say on it. I'm just worried with all the twists and turns it feels like we've seen and gotten. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's in our head kind of, and it's more to what's going on than what we see. But to me, it feels like the twists and turns aren't going to make sense at the end, no matter who it is now at this point. Because if Adam Cole was the devil and say he's not hurt, by the time they do the reveal, say he can walk, why did he attack Adam Page? Are they going to connect the dot to when they feuded in ROH and we first came into AEW? That kind of don't make sense. Like, that's why. If we know that was Warlow under the mask, why is Adam Cole and Warlow working together? And then are they faces or heels? And then that's why. There's going to be a lot of questions, but that can make for incredible television. It could come January, and then the tournament is going to be over. So now you got one singular major storyline, and that is MJF and Adam Cole or the devil, whatever that may be.
Crayon box with Walmart crayons.
We should end the show right there. Just in case y'all got anything else, that's funny. Y'all went about 3 minutes about crayons, colored pencils. That was great.
I wish I could see what I could see. I went back to go watch the final part of Dynamite, and it was Nick freaking Wayne's mom hair hanging down with Edge or Adam Copeland facing down on the ground. So when I looked up from the dinner table, I saw that image and I pictured it as her laying flat out on the ground.
Like, damn, what the hell? You just looked back down, huh?
I sure did. I told you after the match, I was like, oh shit. I was like, was that just Adam and Christian?
It was. And on that note, this is a wrap. We out of here. Thank y'all for listening again. Hit the follow button. I haven't talked about that yet. Continue to support the pod by hitting that follow button, leaving a 5-star wherever you listen to it. Leave us comments. I would love to get your guys' thoughts, of course, on everything we talked about, but maybe in particularly the devil storyline. Where you guys at with it? Thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, or thumbs down? The reveal should be happening here really, really soon. So leave that, and we'll go over any fun and cool comments or questions on the next episode. Thank you guys again for listening, and we will see you on the next one.